Hello everyone. In my last topical video titled Regressive, I put forth that I think it's an apt term for describing people who call themselves liberal and progressive and then at some point start favoring policies that would actually start restricting the liberties and freedoms of people rather than creating more liberties and freedoms for people. So, it was a very rich comment section. I'll link it below. And somebody asked me, can I give an example of this type of regressive policy? And when I used the rather general example of somebody saying that rules meant for safe spaces online should be extended to all public spaces, I was accused of equating harassment with free speech. Now, I don't think that I was equating harassment with free speech there, because there are lots of different things that can be eliminated from the conversation in a safe space. Not just harassment, there can be triggering things, there can be just things that people just don't want to talk about. But it got me to thinking on how some people might see harassment, where the person who was talking about something was not intending any harassment at all, or hate speech, or racism, or all sorts of things that can label someone's speech and try to dehumanize it into just hate speech, you know, and something worthy of censoring. So I decided to give a couple more examples of things that I don't think are hate speech, harassment, racism, or whatnot, and sexism, all those isms that just get labeled onto words so that people can just make excuses for censoring people. So, what if I were to make the argument that the President of the United States should be a natural born citizen, and that we should not allow anyone who wasn't born in the United States to become president of the United States because they might have ties to another country which would lead them to favor that country in some decision-making process. And so we should limit that office to only people who were naturally born in the United States. Now, if I were to make that argument, which was made 200 years ago when the United States Constitution was written up, would that be nationalistic of me? Would that be horribly nationalistic? Would that be so nationalistic that if I even mention this argument, people should unsubscribe me, block me, censor me from all further discussions on something, if I made the argument that maybe we want to look at some rather unique and extreme measures to make sure that the President of the United States maintains all of his loyalty with the United States? Is even bringing that argument up so nationalistic that I am guilty of hate speech? Now, I can see how some people might think that that's nationalistic, and some people might think that Arnold Schwarzenegger, after becoming governor of California, should have been able to also run for president of the United States, and we would have had the Terminator in chief, I guess. Okay. But I don't think that anyone who made that argument 200 years ago was thinking in a way that should have been considered hate speech. They were trying to protect the country that they were building. not be hating on all of the immigrants that were coming in. These are the same people who would have lovingly endorsed the Statue of Liberty with all that was written on, bring us your huddled masses. These are people that were probably not even one generation removed from immigration to America, and these are the people who wrote that. And there was a reason why they were thinking about it. And did they shut down the writing of the Constitution? Just say, hey, wait a second, somebody 200 years from now might make the argument that you're being nationalistic. No, they were open to all of these ideas. And moving on, let's say let's give another example. If somebody were to propose at a university level, and this is not just a hypothetical, this is actually a real example. If somebody were to propose at a university level that any conference or speaking panel that was hosted at that university should follow a order of precedence. Now, if you don't know what that is, an order of precedence is like saying king, queen, prince, princess, duke, duchess, in order, of who is most important. That's the order of precedence, right? If the university said that for all speaking panels and conferences, the order of precedence should be that white, male, heterosexual, cisgendered people should speak last at every panel, and that if it's a girl, if it's somebody of a different color, if it's somebody of any difference that could be marginalized, that is on that panel with that white, male, heterosexual, cisgendered person, then that person needs to speak first. And there should be a hierarchy of who gets to speak first. If I were to say that I find that to be racist, sexist, and all sorts of ist that is wrong, am I now a racist for calling that racist? For promoting that I believe that people should have an order of precedence in speaking at a conference based on merit, and probably the merit of the conversation being talked about, who has the most merit within that context. And if my system would reward people who maybe were not as oppressed in their lives, and maybe a couple more white, male, old guys, crusty guys, got to speak at a panel a little bit earlier before other people. As a result, am I now racist for promoting that we should speak in order based on merit, and merit alone? Because in my eyes, there is no such thing as reverse discrimination or reverse prejudice. There is only racism and prejudice, and just different ways of applying it. Okay? Am I a bad person for saying that it is equally just as bad to be racist against people who might have other privileges, or might not even have been able to enjoy those privileges? Am I a bad person for saying that racism should be called out, whether or not it is being used against or for protected classes? Yeah. These are the kind of things that I just disagree with a lot of people on, because I don't think two wrongs make a right in many of these areas. So Let me know what you think below. Um, I don't know what I'm going to title this video, but I hope that it's enough that the people who were part of the conversation in the last video continue talking, because I think this is awesome.